How's it, everybody? This is Mundo, and you can see I'm surrounded by my babies. These are the guitars I use to work with. These are the guitars I use to get the job done with. I have more. Some of them are unplayable, and some of them are precious, but I don't use them on... I don't have many more than this that are playable. Some of them are precious. They have some memories. They're not professional guitars. But I've been asked many times, how many guitars do you have? What guitar do you use for this? What guitar do you use for that? This recording, that recording, and you answer the questions. When COVID hit around March and April, my son came up with the idea of, Dad, you should do a video on all your guitars. And I was like, he talked me into it because like, really? He's like, yeah, it'd be really cool. So this is my video on all my guitars. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's go through the electrics. You've heard my Suhr guitar. I love this guitar. Got some new pickups in there. You can check out my videos on that. My son's helping me today. And then my main guitar is this Ponce Sybil. It's a Strat. Based off, let's see, 57 body and early 60s neck with a big headstock. One upgrade we did is, these are Ponce pickups, but we put a Ponce humbucker in there. That allowed me to actually take this out and do gigs with it, because I usually take 1 or 2 guitars to do a gig, and my gigs might be funk, might be rock, a little metal here and there, country, and I like to have one guitar that does it all. No finish on the back of the neck, I dig that. I'm gonna show you my other guitars. I don't really play live, I play in the studio. This is a 1976 Les Paul Custom, and the older it gets, the richer this blonde gets. It's really cool. I bought it before I heard of Randy Rhoads, and then when I saw Randy playing it, I thought, oh, how cool is that? The hardware, I have the original hardware. Way back when, I wanted to get a whammy bar, and I put a shaller on it that just floated above on the poles. Not good. But this hardware is Tone Pros, and I really do recommend taking it to them. It's a more solid fit, so it's a more solid resonance. It's the best way I could say it. It did make a difference. When I first brought this guitar to them, they weren't so happy about it because it was a Norlin made 76 Norlin, the Norlin years for Gibson. So they wanted to see it first, and they said, this is okay. It's not that great, but it's not bad at all, so it's okay. And they did the hardware change, and really nice guitar, super heavy. I'm using my son's rig today. This is his Marshall, and I'm using his pedal board. I don't know it that well, but this is just the amp. This is the first guitar that I bought with my own money. My dad co-signed the layaway plan, and I fell in love with this guitar. I love the fact that it was so easy to play, and the salesman said it's the fretless wonder. But it took me all summer to pay it off. As I've grown as a player, I don't like the action solo. So if there's anything I don't like about this guitar other than the weight, it's how low the action is. This is so heavy, and I used to tour when I was a kid in rock bands, jump in the air, land on my knees, and got the name The Flying Hawaiian, and it was all about jumping. And all these years later, I think some of my problems have to do with the weight of this guitar. Love it. This guitar has got a great story. I bought this guitar because I was going to Japan. I was living in Hollywood, and I knew I was going to go to Japan in about a month, and my truck got stolen. And so the insurance gave me the money to pay for my truck. It was a little more than $2,000, and I used all of that money to buy this guitar. It's made by Sammy Sanchez out of a music store called Nadine's. I love maple necks, that's my favorite kind of neck. He had invaders in here, invader pickups. I did not like them, and I talked him into putting these EMGs, and didn't like that idea, and I found out After that, he did like the idea and put a lot of EMGs in his guitar. It was kind of a thing of the times. But it's painted by Pat Wilkins. Pat painted some of Eddie's guitars. This has a battery. Since these are active, I had him put an on-off switch. Not to be cool and do the not to do that, because I would forget to unplug my guitar and use up the battery on the gig. So this way I could keep it plugged in. This is the best Floyd ever. There's a little plastic washer in here that I wear out, but other than that, it's solid. It's so great. The bummer about this guitar, I played it and toured with it, and I don't know if it was going to Asia, but I'd get to the, from Vegas to Asia or LA to Asia, so dry to wet and humid, and I could feel a bump on the back of my neck. And it was really weird. And the moisture, I guess, flying. Anyway, pretty soon the bump started showing itself, and you can see I've got some lines here. So I've had it fixed a few times, and finally I had to say, that's just it. And yeah, if you noticed, I brought this guitar in Tahoe to Steve Vai's studio, if I could say it. And he was doing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure #2, and I wasn't supposed to bug him, but it's the day before my birthday, so I still brought the guitar to him, and he played it, liked it, and I asked him if he would sign it, and I think he wrote thanks because I helped him solder some tweeters in his monitor speakers. But he didn't give me this guitar. It kind of looks like it, right? But he loved these jumbo frets. These are the biggest frets I've ever seen. Asked me who made it. I told him Sammy, and on his next album, there's a thank you to Sammy. So that's cool. Anyway, he was playing this guitar. It was a moment, and he took the whammy bar back and just started shaking it, and a string broke, and that was it. It woke him up from that short reverie he had with this guitar, and he had to get back to work. By the way, check it out. It is scalloped from the 15th fret up. So Yngwie had his guitar all scalloped, and that was something Sammy had done, and it's pretty cool. I'm just pressing very lightly just to the fret wire, and the scallop is pretty cool. Like I said, the whammy bar. Love this guitar. All right, this Suhr Modern Classic, Olympic White. Maybe it'll make me play a little more like Jeff Beck. This guitar reminds me so much of that Sammy Sanchez guitar. With maybe better improvements, not so much of a crazy tremolo bar, but it stays in tune. I use this in the Le Rev show, and it's got a maple neck roasted, and it's the neck. When I play it, it's got a resonance. I can just, it's so alive. I can feel it against my body. It's loud. For all kinds of styles. A little similar to that last guitar. Great versatile guitar. Alright, this is my Strat. I played this a lot. I would do most of my shredding on this, and the action's pretty high. I had to fight this guitar. I love the way it sounded, but the fight and to play the fast stuff I wanted to do just wasn't happening. But my band that I worked with at Caesar's Palace for 10 years and also toured with, they loved it. They were like, it's play the Strat, play the Strat. So when it's one guy against 6 other guys, you gotta listen to them. This guitar is the only guitar I've ever owned that 2 or 3 occasions people were like, can I buy this off of you? They loved it. I played it through a Marshall. The neck is great. It's a 91 Strat Plus made in the USA. Right now it's got the triple play on it, which is great. But I hardly play it anymore, except when I really need a Strat sound. Love this guitar. My very first night, so I got this used from a guitar repairman. Somebody had put this up as collateral once it was repaired if he couldn't pay for it, and he couldn't pay for it. So I bought this for $450. It was a great steal. The repair guy was like, go ahead and take it, play it for a week, 5 days, and tell me, you know, if you want it, great. So I took it, I played it for 5 or 6 days, and on my payday, I called him up and I said, listen, I got a gig tonight, but I want to buy the guitar, and I'll pay you tomorrow morning. So that was the plan. Last song, or second to last song of the night, I was singing a song called Sarah Smile by Hall & Oates, and loving this guitar, and just singing, having my eyes closed, and the guitar fell off the strap because I had not put strap locks on it yet. It wasn't my guitar. And my eyes were closed, and I could feel it coming off, and I grabbed it as it hit the mic stand on the way down. Never hit the floor, I caught it. But the very first night, before I actually paid for it, I dinged it up. gave it some character. There's another ding. Another time, it fell out of the gig bag to the cement floor. I was just walking with my gig bag, the zipper came out, boom, on the cement floor. Took it to work, it was great. So let's put some sauce on this. That's my Strat. Alright, so this is my Suhr. It's a classic antique. It is, I think it was a special order because if you notice it has a big chunky Flintstones headstock. And I bought this used, I fell in love with it. It's funny because when I wasn't with Washburn, I could play whatever guitar I wanted to play. And I wanted a Suhr, and I've always wanted this color as well. Beautiful guitar. I bought it used, and I was trying to figure out this marking here, and I found out on the internet this was actually a giveaway in North Carolina, maybe? I had to track it down, and it was Andy Woods, picking master, was doing a clinic, and he signed this and gave it away, and whoever he gave it away, whoever won it, sold it. But I don't play this guitar as much. Take it back. I don't play it live as much, but I play this all the time in the studio. It's got a real forward mid-range sound that cuts in all the mixes. Use this all the time in the studio. Great guitar. I don't have a proper Tele, and I'll tell you why this isn't a proper Tele, but when I need a Tele-like sound, this is what I use. John Taggart's a great guitar tech. Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, tons of people. Before he went on the road and got all big, he was our tech here in Vegas, so I did a lot of work with him, and he makes guitars. Always wanted me to buy one of his guitars, and they just didn't fit what I needed to do. They were great, but one time I was hanging out with him when he was working on my guitars, and I was there for a while. I think I was going to go on a tour, and this was on the wall, and I picked it up and started playing it, and I liked it. I was teasing him like, oh my gosh, you got it right. I played this guitar while he was there, and at the end of it, I asked him to sell it to me, and he said no, it was the one he was picking for himself. And I worked him hard enough, and he sold it to me. So this Tele, the reason why it's not traditional, it is hollow, all right? It's made out of plywood from a waterbed. And the guitar tech I use now, Brandon Jones, who's with Aerosmith, I'll do a video on him soon. He was Tagg's protege, and this was wood from his waterbed. So we really don't know where it's been or what it's gone through. But I love this guitar. It's super light. The other thing that's neat, it's full mahogany neck. And so if I was doing country stuff, so it's great for that, but believe it or not, I use this for jazz sessions or even jazz gigs when I don't want to bring the big jazz box. Check it out. If I go to the neck pickup and I roll down the tone knob, and in contrast to the jazz box, so this is in the studio all the time. And I use this in the mix all the time. Sometimes to find its own lane, sometimes to pop out in the mix, sometimes to blend in the background. Sometimes if I do rhythm parts and spread them wide, it might be a Les Paul and this, and you put them together. It's a huge sound. So this is used in the studio all the time. I think that's about it. But one thing I wanted to mention, bass. Why do I want to mention the bass? Because I think as guitar players, working guitar players, we need a bass for recording. If I'm doing a recording that's really important, I don't play bass on it, but I will play bass on the demo, especially if I wrote the song, because that basically tells the bass player, for sure these are the notes I want, and I always say, make it better, because I don't play bass. But this bass, it's a Kingston model from MTV. Boy, it's really light. It's a 5-string. It throws me off sometimes, but the neck feels like a guitar neck. It is wider, but it's wide and thin. And I use this all the time, and it gives me a greater appreciation for bass players as well, because that's a hard job. So yeah, those are my guitars. This was fun for me. I didn't think I would like doing this video, but this was fun. These are the guitars I use to work with, and thanks for letting me share. Till next time, this is Mundo. Aloha.